The film begins 37 years before, when we meet a female spy called Myrtle, better known as the People 28, who go on one of their great missions through the air where she is persecuted, but soon manages to reach the base of the enemy, which is a certain Dr. Dufu. Then the people are contacted by his son, who tells him that he has a few seconds to deactivate a rocket that Dr. Dufu is about to launch. So the People 28 rush and quickly defeat a few local villains. The spy manages to reach the rocket, which is about to take off, when Dr. Dufu appears and tells him that he plans to replace the satellites and damage all the communication in the world to conquer everything. The people do not want to allow it, but at that moment, a henchman of the doctor appears, who is known as Ham Hand, who quickly knocks her down and leaves her locked up, while the doctor comments that soon the whole world will be his. Luckily, the People 28 manage to free themselves, so he quickly defeats Ham Hand, while the doctor accidentally ends up inside the rocket that his satellite has. At the same time, the people manage to stop the rays that will destroy the other satellites, but the rocket is not able to stop it. So the doctor ends up lost in space. Oh, how bad. In the present, we realize that everything is a story told by Lincoln, who tells his friend named Clyde that the People 28 is actually from his grandmother and has many important missions like that. At the same time, the People 28, or rather Lincoln's grandmother, arrives. She is going to marry a man and comes to tell everyone that the flight is about to leave. Lincoln reminds his grandmother of her years as a spy and signs up for new missions with her, but she tells him that those days are a thing of the past. However, seeing that Lincoln is disappointed, she gives him a very important mission. He must take care of the rings for her wedding. It seems that Lincoln does not take this responsibility very well. Then, the Lowe family prepares to leave for the grandmother's wedding, where Lincoln lists his things, especially a spy watch, which is a toy, but he likes it a lot. Meanwhile, Lincoln's sister, Lisa, shows that she has just invented a device that shoots down anything. But if someone uses it, it ends up shooting down a super important satellite, an important detail not to forget. Everyone is ready, and they leave for their new adventure. We see them all travel by plane, where they meet a somewhat clueless woman named Fifi, who wants to make friends with them. However, Lincoln's father is not feeling very well. Lincoln tries to convince Grandma that Fifi is part of a group of people spying on them, but Grandma calms him down, telling him that he is just imagining things. At the same time, Miss Fifi is not having a very good time with the Lowe family. Afterward, they arrive at the hotel where everyone makes themselves comfortable. The grandmother and her fiancé go to spend time on a boat, accompanied by Lincoln, who keeps watching everywhere like a spy. He accidentally ends up discovering that there are villains doing things. But the bad thing is that they soon discover him and go after him. Luckily, the grandmother was on board, so she lends a hand. A confrontation arises between them, and the grandmother manages to defeat the villains, sending them back to where they came from. However, Lincoln lost his camera, where he had all the evidence he found. Lincoln is impressed by all of the grandmother's actions. Afterwards, the grandmother contacts her old secas to inform him of what Lincoln found. He tells her to assign other people to take charge, but Lincoln manages to accept the mission from Grandma's cell phone without her realizing it. Then, Lincoln doesn't know where to start when he discovers that Fifi found his camera. She returns it to him, but the bad thing is that it ends in a hole that leaves the load. So, Lincoln contacts his friend Clyde and gives him the information to investigate more about it. Clyde soon provides him with several locations. At nightfall, Lincoln gets down to work, acting hidden like a spy. What he doesn't realize is that the grandmother is observing everything. At the same time, she hired a waiter to replace her while she follows her grandson. The fake grandmother seems not to be discovered by her fiancé, who lets her rest. However, what she didn't know is that the Lowe family arrives and comes to pick her up for her bachelorette party. On the other hand, Lincoln takes the time to infiltrate a place where he realizes that there are many suspects and recognizes some of them who confronted them on the boat, so he soon begins to track them down. Meanwhile, at the fake grandmother's bachelorette party, the Lowe family manages to give her a good, fun time. At the same time, Lincoln discovers that the villains are talking about parts of a rocket, which seem to be directed at Dr. Dufu. While he hears it from Ham Hand himself, Lincoln infiltrates more into the place, but soon realizes that his grandmother has arrived. She tries to stop him, but Lincoln makes her see that he wants to be a great spy like her and that this is a good opportunity to prove it. However, they do not have much time since their masters are discovered. A new confrontation arises, but since there are too many of them, they flee on a Vespa. A fight arises in the city while the grandmother and her grandson manage to get rid of each one of them until finally they are free. Despite this, Ham Hand was waiting. Soon he knocks them down, so Grandma convinces Lincoln to walk away since she will take care of it. Lincoln sees that Ham Hand arrives and ends up taking Grandma. Quickly, Lincoln tries to catch up with them but faces several problems, so he doesn't achieve much. At the same time, a truck passes by, so the boy quickly hides, but it seems he doesn't do it very well. Luckily, he realizes that it was his family. Lincoln tells them what happened with Grandma. They tell him that she is with them, so Lincoln soon discovers that she is an imposter. The family wants to go against him while he tries to convince them that he is a great family member and that he liked being part of them, even for a while. But, well, they end up kicking him out. Anyway, when they learn the truth, they quickly go to the police station, but realize that the manager is the same one from the hotel, since it seems that he is in charge of everything in the place. He tells them that he does not have time since he has to attend to other things. Because of this, the family does not know what to do, and they notice that Alex is more impatient to recover his beloved. So Lincoln convinces them to rescue her themselves. Elisa, who is the smartest of all, tells them that she brought some little toys, which they distribute among the family. There is a laser lipstick, a palette that induces sleep, and she gives Lincoln a mega magnet on his watch. She gives her father some pepper dispensers that have nothing special about them but are meant to avoid giving him a dangerous device. On the other hand, they lock the grandmother in a rocket, since it seems that the doctor wants to take revenge on her. The family is on their way, looking for the base of the villains. They try to hide from them while Fifi thinks they are exploring and tells them that they can leave in her car. However, the only thing they achieve is getting discovered. Because of this, they end up having the car taken away. So the family escapes from the villains and reaches the base faster. Some villains follow them, but luckily Ian takes them off their trail. They arrive at the base where the youngest manages, with his paddle, to put the guard at the entrance to sleep. The family manages to get in, and Lincoln quickly deduces the apartment where they have the grandmother. He warns the others that they should be careful and should not turn on the alarm in the place. However, the skin ends up accidentally activating it, so the villains find out, and the family ends up divided into two groups. So they both try to find the grandmother on their own, while the latter gets an idea. She soon begins to cover the cup. Meanwhile, a group reaches the elevator where the father disguises himself as a guard, but is soon discovered. He wants to use the pepper dispensers, so the family thinks they are lost. Luckily, these end up working, so the family gets on the elevator. The bad thing is that it stops on another floor. Meanwhile, the team where Lincoln is sees that there are many villains, so they use the laser lipstick and turn off everything. They soon begin to infiltrate. Returning to the elevator with the others, they fill up more, where they believe it is the father's birthday, and everyone sings to him. Returning to Lincoln and the others, they are discovered, but luckily, they manage to escape in time. Meanwhile, the others hold their breath and use a special gas to put the others to sleep. At the same time, the grandmother manages to deceive the guards with the cup, so those from above escape. Shortly after, both groups meet right in front of the rocket, but they realize that the grandmother is no longer there. The worst of all is that they end up trapped in the rocket. Meanwhile, the grandmother arrives at the command room where she tries to stop the systems, but realizes that she does not have access to them. At that moment, Ham Hand arrives, so the confrontation between them soon arises. The grandmother becomes People 28 and goes against him. Luckily, it seems that she is beginning to take advantage. However, she soon realizes that they have her family, and she finds out that they want to send them to space. She distracts Ham Hand while trying to figure out how to leave the trap. At the same time, Dr. Dufu arrives, revealing that she wants to avenge her lover. In addition to discovering that she was always Miss Fifi, she then tells Lincoln that she took advantage of him wanting to be a spy so he could attract his grandmother. Lincoln realizes that she was always behind everything, and that, in reality, she was always using him. The doctor lets him know that he didn't even realize who took his rings, which should be his main mission. Lincoln understands that he is not a real spy. Then the doctor activates the takeoff protocol, and they realize that they only have a few seconds. So the grandmother lets go and goes against Ham Hand, who accidentally ends up falling asleep under a rock. Then the grandmother goes against the doctor to take control of her, but she doesn't make it easy for him. Besides, he throws the rings in front of her and leaves them in the sea. Then they continue with their own thing, and the villain is about to fall into the water, where she asks for control in exchange for saving her. But she sacrifices herself in exchange for revenge on the People 28. Because of this, she realizes that the rocket takes off, so she has no other choice. She also goes with them, and they are happy to see her, but they know they are lost. Lincoln is devastated and feels guilty, so he doesn't want to know anything more about spies. However, this gives Grandma a good idea, and it seems that they can save themselves in the rocket waste container. But the bad thing is that one has to stay to activate the decoupling, so the grandmother wants to do it since her life as a spy took them there. So she begins to say goodbye to her beloved. However, Lincoln manages to save everyone else since he wants to sacrifice himself, as in reality, he was the one who got them all into it. So he sends them back to Earth. Then the family arrives on Earth, where they remember what Lisa does, so they manage to control it from their location. They launch a relay to deflect Lincoln's rocket, so it soon lands in the sea, and they quickly go to save him. But he realizes that it costs him a lot, and it seems Lincoln doesn't have much time left, so it seems like they have lost him. But he manages to save him, so they are happy to see him again, and the Lowe family is reunited. The next day, Lincoln replaces the rings for Grandma, who realizes that he exchanged them in exchange for his precious watch. So the wedding soon takes place, and the Lowe family is happy for the grandmother. While we realize that the officer managed to catch the two villains of the video. If you liked it, here, I leave you the previous movie, as well as the Cassegrain movie. Have a great day.